happiness, a very vivid planetarium you may see, a monarchy that's tempered with republican equality. This form of government we find the beau ideal of its kind, a despotism strict combined with absolute equality, Of happiness, a very vivid planetarium you may see, a monarchy that's tempered with republican equality, Two kings of undue pride bereft who act in perfect unity, whom you can order right and left with absolute impunity, who put their subjects at their ease by doing all they can to please, and thus to earn their bread and cheese seize every opportunity, and thus to earn their bread and cheese seize every opportunity. We act in perfect unity. We act in perfect unity. Of happiness, a very vivid planetarium you may see, a monarchy that's tempered with republican equality, tempered with equality.
Gentlemen, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling. I say, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling.
We heard you.
We are delighted at any time to fall in with sentiments so charmingly expressed.
That's all right.
At the same time, there is just one little grievance that we should like to ventilate.
What?
Don't be alarmed. It's not serious. It is arranged that until it is decided which of us two is the actual king, we are to act as one person.
Exactly.
Now, although we act as one person, we are in point of fact two persons. I don't think we can go into that. It is a legal fiction, and legal fictions are solemn things. Situated as we are, we can't recognise two independent responsibilities. No, but you can recognise two independent appetites. It's all very well to say we act as one person, but when you supply us with only one ration between us, I should describe it as a legal fiction carried a little too far. It's rather a nice point. I don't like to express an opinion offhand. Suppose we reserve it for argument before the full court. Yes, but what are we to do in the meantime?
We want our tea.
I think we may make an interim order for double rations on their Majesties entering into the usual undertaking to indemnify in the event of an adverse decision. That, I think, will meet the case. But you must work hard. Stick to it. Nothing like work. Oh, certainly. We quite understand that a man who holds the magnificent position of king should do something to justify it. We are called Your Majesty. We are allowed to buy ourselves magnificent clothes. Our subjects frequently nod to us in the streets. The sentries always return our salutes, and we enjoy the inestimable privilege of heading the subscription lists to all the principal charities. In return for these advantages, the least we can do is to make ourselves useful about the palace. Rising early in the morning, we proceed to light our fire, then our Majesty adorning,
In its workaday attire, we embark without delay on the duties of the day. First we polish up some batches of political dispatches and foreign politicians circumvent. Then if business isn't heavy, we may hold a royal levee or ratify some acts of parliament. Then we probably review the household troops with the usual shadow hooks and shadow hooks, or receive with ceremonial and state an interesting Eastern potentate. After that we generally go and dress our private valet. It's a rather nervous duty, he's a touchy little man. Write some letters literary for our private secretary. He is shaky in his spelling, so we help him if we can. Then in view of cravings inner, we go down and order dinner. Then we polish the regalia and the coronation plate. Spend an hour in titivating all our gentlemen in waiting, or we run on little errands for the ministers of state. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. But the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run on little errands for the ministers of state.
Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. But the privilege and pleasure that they treasure beyond measure is to run on little errands for the ministers of state. After luncheon making merry on a bun and glass of sherry, if we've nothing in particular to do, we may make a proclamation or receive a deputation. Then we possibly create a peer or two. Then we help a fellow creature on his path with the garter or the thistle or the bath. Or we dress and toddle off in semi-state to a festival, a function or a fete. Then we go and stand a sentry at the palace private entry, marching hither, marching thither, up and down and to and fro, while the warrior on duty goes in search of beer and beauty, and it generally happens that he hasn't far to go. He relieves us if he's able, just in time to lay the table. Then we dine and serve the coffee, and at 12:30 or 1, with a pleasure that's emphatic, we retire to our attic with the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of the king, but of pleasures there are many, and of troubles there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of the king, but of pleasures there are many, and of troubles there are none. And the culminating pleasure that they treasure beyond measure is the gratifying feeling that their duty has been done. Yes, it really is a very pleasant existence. They're all so singularly kind and considerate. You don't find them wanting to do this or wanting to do that, or saying, "It's my turn now." No, they let us have all the fun to ourselves and never seem to grudge it. It makes one feel quite selfish. It almost seems like taking advantage of their good nature. How nice they were about the double rations. Most considerate. There's only one thing wanting to make us thoroughly comfortable. And that is the dear little wives we left behind us 3 months ago. Yes, it is dull without female society. We can do without everything else, but we can't do without that. And if we have that imperfection, we have everything. There is only one recipe for perfect happiness. Take a pair of sparkling eyes, hidden never and anon in a merciful eclipse. Do not heed their mild surprise, having passed the Rubicon. Take a pair of rosy lips. Take a figure trimly planned, such as admiration whets. Be particular in this. Take a tender little hand, fringed with dainty fingerets. Press it, in parenthesis. Take and keep them if you can, if you can. Take all these, you lucky man. Take and keep them if you can, if you can. Take a pretty little cot, quite a miniature affair, hung about with trellised vine. Furnish it upon the spot with those treasures rich and rare I've endeavoured to define. Live to love and love to live, you will ripen at your ease, growing on the sunny side. Fate has nothing more to give, you're a dainty man to please. If you're not satisfied, not satisfied, take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can. Take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can. Take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can, if you can. Act upon it if you can, happy man, if you can.
Though obedience is strong, curiosity is stronger. We waited for long, till we couldn't wait longer. It's imprudent, we know, but without your society, existence was slow, and we long for variety. Existence was slow, and we long for variety. Yes, we wanted variety. So here we are at the risk of our lives, and we've brought your mice, and you're on it, doing it. We promised the way, and without doubting it, do it again.
Tessa,
Giuseppe, Marco,
Janetta.
after sailing to this island, tossing in a manner frightful, we are all once more on dry land, and we find a change delightful. As at home we've been remaining, we've not seen you both for ages. Tell me, are you fond of raining? How's the food and what's the wages? Does your new employment please you? How does royalizing strike you? Is it difficult or easy? Do you think your subjects like you? I am anxious to elicit. Is it plain and easy staring? Take it all together. Is it better fun than gondoliering? We shall both go on requesting till you tell us, never doubt it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it.
They will both go on requesting till you tell them never doubt it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it.
Is the populace exacting? Do they keep you at a distance? All unaided, are you acting? Or do they provide assistance? When you're busy, have you got to get up early in the morning? If you do what you ought not to, do they give the usual warning? With a horse do they equip you? Lots of trumpeting and drumming? Do the royal tradesmen tip you? In the livery becoming? Does your human being inner feed on everything that nicest? Do they give you wine for dinner? Peaches, sugar, plums and ices? We shall both go on requesting till you tell us never about it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it.
They will both go on requesting till you tell them never doubt it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it. They'll go on requesting till you tell us never doubt it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it. Everything is interesting. Everything is interesting. Tell us all about it. Tell us all about it. Tell us all about it.
This is indeed a most delightful surprise.
Yes, we thought you'd like it. You see, it was like this. After you left, we felt very dull and mopey, and the days crawled by, and you never wrote. So at last I said to Janetta, I can't stand this any longer. Those two poor monarchs haven't got anyone to mend their stockings or sew on their buttons or patch their clothes. At least I hope they haven't. Let us all pack up a change and go and see how they're getting along. And she said, done. And they all said done. And we asked old Jacopo to lend us his boat, and he said done. And we've crossed the sea, and thank goodness that's done. Here we are. And I've done.
Your employer won't be angry, will he?
My employer?
The old gentleman in mourning.
Oh, Lord, I forgot him. But he won't know. He's not here. He's in Spain, hunting the nurse.
Then will he stay?
Stay? I should think you might. Why, we've been longing for this.
That accounts for it.
And now, which of you is king?
And which of us is queen?
That we shan't know until nurse turns up. But never mind that. The question is, how shall we celebrate the commencement of our honeymoon? Gentlemen, will you allow us to offer you a magnificent banquet?
We will!
Thanks very much. And ladies, what do you say to a dance?
A banquet and a dance? Oh, it's too much happiness.
Dance and capture the fun and go around. Near our hotel, I will come to the blankets in dances and everything I could have twice the dances. To the pretty bit of batter and the clitty batter. Small sailors who did back to near our hotel, for I will come to the blast. Here dances the necklace in light, and honest the dances, are endlessly wide. Dance and capture the fun and the hotel. There is in our hotel. I will come to the blankets in dances, are endlessly like a fat boys for dancing. Oh, there is who can come to near our hotel, I will come to the house. Dances are endlessly like a fat boys for dancing, are endlessly like a fat boys for dancing.
Get out. Good evening. Fancy ball? No, not exactly. A little friendly dance, that's all. Sorry you're late, but I saw a groom dancing. And a footman. Yes, that's the Lord High Footman. And dear me, a common little drummer boy. Oh no, that's the Lord High Drummer Boy. But surely the servants' hall is the place for these gentry. Oh dear, no. We have appropriated the servants' hall. It's a royal apartment, and accessible only by tickets obtainable at the Lord Chamberlain's office. We really must have some place that we can call our own.
I'm afraid I'm not quite equal to the intellectual pressure of the conversation.
You see, the monarchy has been remodelled on republican principles.
What?
All departments rank equally, and everybody is at the head of his department.
I see.
I'm afraid you're annoyed.
No, I won't say that. It's not quite what I expected.
I'm awfully sorry. So am I. By the by, can I offer you anything after your voyage? A plate of macaroni and a rusk?
No, nothing.
Obliged to be careful.
Yes. Gout. You see, in every court, there are distinctions that must be observed.
There are there?
Why, of course. For instance, you wouldn't have a Lord High Chancellor play leapfrog with his own cook.
Why not?
Why not? Because a Lord High Chancellor is a personage of great dignity, who should never, under any circumstances, place himself in the position of being told to tuck in his tuppenny, except by noblemen of his own rank. A Lord High Archbishop, for instance, might tell a Lord High Chancellor to tuck in his tuppenny, but certainly not a cook, gentlemen. Certainly not a cook.
Not even a Lord High cook?
My good friend, that is a rank that is not recognised at the Lord Chamberlain's office. No, it won't do. I'll give you an instance in which the experiment was tried. There lived a king, as I've been told, in the wonder-working days of old, when hearts were twice as good as gold, and 20 times as mellow. Good temper triumphed in his face, and in his heart he found a place for all the erring human race, and every wretched fellow. When he had renish wine to drink, it made him very sad to think that some at junket or at jink must be content with toddy. With toddy. He wished all men as rich as he, and he was rich as rich could be. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody. Now that's the kind of king for me. He wished all men as rich as he. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody. Lord Chancellors were cheap as sprats, and bishops in their shovel hats were plentiful as tabby cats, in point of fact too many. Ambassadors cropped up like hay, prime ministers and such as they grew like asparagus in May, and dukes were 3 a penny. On every side field marshals gleamed, small beer were lords lieutenants deemed, with admirals the ocean teemed, all round his wide dominions, with admirals around his dominions. And party leaders you might meet in 2s and 3s in every street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. Now that's a sight you couldn't beat, 2 party leaders in each street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. That king, although no one denies his heart was of abnormal size, yet he'd have acted otherwise if he had been acuter. The end is easily foretold when every blessed thing you hold is made of silver or of gold you long for simple pewter. When you have nothing else to wear but cloth of gold and satins rare, for cloth of gold you cease to care, up goes the price of shoddy, shoddy. In short, whoever you may be, to this conclusion you'll agree, when everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody. Now that's as plain can be. To this conclusion we agree, whenever everyone is somebody, and no one's anybody.
And now I have some important news to communicate. His Grace the Duke of Plaza Toro, Her Grace the Duchess, and their beautiful daughter Casilda, I say their beautiful daughter Casilda, we heard you, have arrived at Barataria and may be here at any moment. The Duke and Duchess are nothing to us, but the daughter, the beautiful daughter. Aha. Oh, you're a lucky dog, one of you. I think you're a very incomprehensible old gentleman. Not a bit. I'll explain. Many years ago, when you, whichever you are, were a baby, you, whichever you are, were married to a little girl who has grown up to be the most beautiful young lady in Spain. That beautiful young lady will be here to claim you, whichever you are, in half an hour. And I congratulate that one, whichever it is, with all my heart. Married when a baby? But we were married 3 months ago. One of you, only one. The other, whichever it is an unintentional bigamist.
Well, upon my word!
Huh? Who are these young people?
Who are we? Why, they're wives, of course. We've just arrived.
Their wives. Oh dear, this is very unfortunate. Oh dear, this complicates matters. Dear, dear, what will Her Majesty say?
Do you mean to say that one of these monarchs was already married?
And that neither of us will be a queen?
That is the idea I intended to convey. Tessa, my dear child.
Get away! Perhaps it's you!
My poor little woman.
Don't! Who knows whose husband you are? And pray, why didn't you tell us all about it before they left Venice?
Because if I had, no earthly temptation would have induced these gentlemen to leave two such extremely fascinating and utterly irresistible little ladies.
There's something in that.
I may mention that you will not be kept long in suspense, as the old lady who nursed the royal child is at present in the torture chamber, waiting for me to interview her. Poor old girl. And you better go and put her out of her suspense. Oh, no, there's no hurry. She's all right. She has all the illustrated papers. However, I'll go and interrogate her, and in the meantime, may I suggest the absolute propriety of your regarding yourselves as single young ladies? Good evening.
Well, here's a pleasant state of things.
Delightful. One of us is married to two young ladies, and nobody knows which. And the other is married to one young lady whom nobody can identify.
And one of us is married to one of you, and the other is married to nobody.
But which of you is married to which of us? And what's to become of the other?
It's quite simple. Observe. 2 husbands have managed to acquire 3 wives. 3 wives, 2 husbands. That's 2/3 of a husband to each wife.
Oh, Mount Vesuvius, here we are in arithmetic. My good sir, one can't marry a vulgar fraction.
You've got no right to call me a vulgar fraction. We are getting rather mixed. The situation is entangled. Let's try and comb it out.
In a contemplative fashion, and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find. Let us grasp the situation, solve the complicated plot. Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot. In a contemplative fashion, and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find.
Jeanette, I was mated, I can prove it in a trice. Though her charms are overrated, still I own she's rather nice. I to Tessel willy-nilly, all at once the victim fell. She is what is called a silly, still she answers pretty well. She's a silly, still she answers pretty well. Now when we were pretty babies, someone married us, that's clear.
And if I can catch her on picture and snatch her and send her away with a flea therein,
Who that young lady married to receive her can't refuse.
if I offer to take her hand and make her shake her
Aristocratic
she's married George, she's saying you and me will have to part. If I have to do it, I want you to teach her to marry the man of her heart.
Quiet, calm deliberation
Marco, you're a spinster. I don't matter if I can get her and her mother will know her again. If I have to do it,
Jeanette, I was Tessel willy-nilly, all at twice. Though her charms are overrated, still a silly conversation. Rather pretty ways.
Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot. With ducal pomp and ducal pride, announce these comers, or ye careful trust, unsalutarious high-born bride, ye sound ye silver stand. She comes to claim her royal hand. Proclaim their graces, for ye noble faces, for the king who rules his goodly land. Ye raise across his band. She comes to claim the royal hand. Ye raise across his band.
This polite attention touches heart of duke and heart of duchess, who resign their pet with profound regret. She of beauty was a model when a tiny tittle toddle, and at 21 she's excelled by none. At 21 she's excelled by none. At 21 she's excelled by none.
She comes to claim the royal hand. Proclaim their graces, for the noble faces, for the king who rules his goodly land. He prays across his band.
Be good enough to inform His Majesty that His Grace the Duke of Plaza Toro Limited has arrived and begs,
desires,
demands an audience. And now, my child, prepare to receive the husband to whom you were united under such interesting and romantic circumstances.
but which is it? There are two of them.
It is true that at present His Majesty is a double gentleman, but as soon as the circumstances of his marriage are ascertained, he will, ipso facto, boil down to a single gentleman, thus presenting a unique example of an individual who becomes a single man and a married man by the same operation. I have known instances in which the characteristics of both conditions existed concurrently in the same individual. Ah, he couldn't have been a Plaza Toro. Oh, couldn't he, though?
Well, whatever happens, I shall of course be a dutiful wife, but I could never love my husband.
I don't know. It's extraordinary what unprepossessing people one can love if one gives one's mind to it. I loved your father. My love? That remark is a little hard, I think. Rather cruel, perhaps. Somewhat uncalled for, I venture to believe. It was very difficult, my dear. But I said to myself, that man is a duke, and I will love him. Several of my relations bet me I couldn't, but I did. Desperately. On the day that I was wedded to your admirable sire, I acknowledge that I dreaded an explosion of his ire. I was overcome with panic, for his temper was volcanic, and I did dare revolt, for I feared a thunderbolt. I was always very wary, for his fury was ecstatic, his refined vocabulary most unpleasantly emphatic. To the thunder of his tartar, I looked under like a martyr. When intently he was fuming, I was gently unassuming. When refining me completely, I was smiling very sweetly. I was smiling very sweetly, very sweetly. Giving him the very best and getting back the very worst. That is how I tried to tame your great progenitor at first. Giving him the very best and getting back the very worst. That is how I tried to tame your great progenitor. But I found that a reliance on my threatening appearance, and a resolute defiance of parental interference, and a gentle intimation of my firm determination to see what I could do to be wife and husband too, was the only thing required for to make his temper supple, and you couldn't have desired a more reciprocating couple, ever willing to be wooing. We were billing, we were cooing. When I nearly from him parted, we were nearly broken-hearted. When in sequel reunited, we were equally delighted. We were equally delighted. Delighted. So with double-shotted guns and colours nailed onto the mast, I tamed your insignificant progenitor at last. So with double-shotted guns and colours nailed onto the mast, I tamed your insignificant progenitor.
My only hope is that when my husband sees what a shady family he is married into, he will repudiate the contract altogether.
Shady? A nobleman shady, who is blazing in the lustre of unaccustomed pocket money? A nobleman shady, who can look back upon 95 quarterings? It is not every nobleman who is 95 quarters in arrear. I mean, who can look back upon 95 of them. And this, just as I have been floated at a premium. Oh, fie! Your Majesty is surely unaware that directly your Majesty's father came before the public, he was applied for over and over again. My dear, Her Majesty's father was in the habit of being applied for over and over again, and very urgently applied for too, long before he was registered under the Limited Liability Act. To help unhappy commoners and add to their enjoyment, affords a man of noble rank congenial employment. Of our attempts we offer you examples illustrative. The work is light, and I may add, it's most remunerative. Small titles and orders for mayors and recorders I get, and they're highly delighted. They're highly delighted. MPs baroneted, sham colonels gazetted, and second-rate aldermen knighted. Yes, aldermen knighted. Foundation stone laying I find very paying. It adds a large sum to my makings. Large sum to his makings. At charity dinners, the best of speech spinners, I get 10% on the takings. 1/10 of the takings. I present any lady whose conduct is shading or smacking of doubtful propriety. Doubtful propriety. With virtue and quasher, I take and whitewash her and launch her in first-rate society. First-rate society. I recommend acres of clumsy dressmakers. They're fit at their finishing touches. Their finishing touches. A sum in addition they pay for permission to say that they make for the Duchess. They make for the Duchess. Those pressing prevailers, the ready-made tailors, quote me as their great double barrel. Their great double barrel. I allow them to do so, though Robinson Crusoe would jib at their wearing apparel. Such wearing apparel! I sit by selection upon the direction of several companies' bubble. All companies' bubble. As soon as they're floated, I'm freely banknoted. I'm pretty well paid for my trouble. He's paid for his trouble. At a middle-class party, I play at écarté, and I'm by no means a beginner. She is not a beginner. To one of my station, the remuneration, 5 guineas a night, and my dinner. Had wine with her dinner. I write letters blatant on medicine's patent, and use any other you mustn't. Believe me, you mustn't. And thou, my complexion derives its perfection from somebody's soap, which it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. We're ready as witness to anyone's fitness to fill any place or preferment. A place or preferment. We're often in waiting at junket or fating, and sometimes attend an interment. We like an interment. In short, if you kindle the spark of a swindle, your simpletons into your clutches, yes, into your clutches. Or hoodwink a debtor, you cannot do better than trot out a duke or a duchess. A duke or a duchess. Ah, their majesties. Your majesty. The Duke of Plaza Toro, I believe. The same. Allow me to present the young lady one of us married. Marco, I begin to hope it was you. Pardon me, her mother. This is our daughter, the Queen, and wife of one of you. Delighted, I'm sure. If it's me. Some time since we met. If it's me. Nice little body, but not a patch on Janetta.
Gentlemen, I am the most obedient servant of one of you. Oh, Louis.
I am now about to address myself to the gentleman whom my daughter married. The other may allow his attention to wander if he likes, for what I am about to say does not concern him. Sir, you will find in this young lady a combination of excellences which you would search for in vain in any young lady who had not the good fortune to be my daughter. There is some little doubt as to which of you is the gentleman I am addressing, and which is the gentleman who is allowing his attention to wander. But when that doubt is solved, I shall say, still addressing the attentive gentleman, Take her, and may she make you happier than her mother has made me.
Sir!
If possible. And now there is a little matter to which I think I am entitled to take exception. I come here in state with Her Grace the Duchess and Her Majesty my daughter. And what do I find?
What have I lost?
Do I find, for instance, a guard of honour to receive me? No.
No.
The town illuminated? No.
No.
Refreshment provided? No.
No.
A royal salute fired? No.
No.
Triumphal arches erected? No.
No.
The bells set ringing?
No.
Yes, one. The visitors, and I rang it myself. It is not enough. It is not enough.
Upon my honour, I'm very sorry, but you see, I was brought up in a gondola. My ideas of politeness are confined to taking off my cap to my passengers when they tip me.
That's all very well in its way, but it is not enough.
I'll take off anything else in reason.
You've done it now. I don't mean what they mean. But a royal salute to my daughter. It costs so little.
Papa, I don't want a salute.
My dear sir, as soon as we know which of us is entitled to take that liberty, she shall have as many salutes as she likes. As for guards of honour and triumphal arches, you don't know our people. They wouldn't stand it. No, they're a mean lot. They wouldn't stand for anything. Besides, they're very off-hand with us. Very off-hand indeed.
But you mustn't allow that. You must keep them in proper discipline. You must impress your court with your importance, your deportment, carriage.
We've got a carriage.
Manner, dignity. There must be a good deal of this sort of thing.
Yes.
Charm. And a little of this sort of thing. Saw you in the park any time you're passing. Saw you in the park any time you're passing. Pass. And possibly just a little song. A what song? It's French. French song. A little song of this sort of thing. I see you, you little heart killer. I see you, you little heart killer. And so on. Oh, it's very useful and most effective. Just attend to me. You are a king. I am a subject. Very good. I am a courtier, grave and serious, who is about to kiss your hand. Try to combine a pose imperious with a demeanour nobly planned. Let us combine a pose imperious with a demeanour nobly planned. That's if anything too unbending, too aggressively stiff and grand. Now to the other extreme you're tending, don't be so deucedly condescending. Now to the other
How hard to please some noblemen seem, at first, if anything, too unbending. Off we go to the other extreme, too confoundedly condescending.
Now a gavotte perform sedately, offer your hand with conscious pride. Take an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Now for an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Oncely, twicely, oncely, twicely, bow impressively ere you glide. Capital both, you've caught it nicely. That is the style of thing precisely.
Capital both, you've caught it nicely. That is the style of thing precisely.
Oh, sweet to earn a nobleman's praise. Capital both, you've caught it nicely. Supposing he's right in what he says, this is the style of thing precisely. That is the style of thing
The old birds have gone away and left the young chickens together. That's called tact. It's very awkward. We really ought to tell her how we are situated. It's not fair to the girl. Then why don't you do it? I'd rather not. You. I don't know how to begin. Madam, we, that is, several of us.
Gentlemen, I am bound to listen to you, but it is right to tell you that, not knowing I was married in infancy, I am over head and ears in love with somebody else.
Our case exactly. We are over head and ears in love with somebody else. In point of fact, with our wives.
Your wives? Then you are married?
Yes. Here's some of them.
It's not our fault.
We knew nothing about it.
We are sisters in misfortune.
My good girls, I don't blame you. Only before we go any further, we must really arrive at some satisfactory arrangement, or we shall get hopelessly complicated.
It's a difficult position. It's nobody's fault. Let us treat it good-humouredly and make the best of it.
Oh, yes. Let's make the best of it by all means.
Certainly.
Let's make the best of it.
Very well. It seems that we two have married you three. Now, I have a proposition to make which I think will meet the difficulty. Till time shall choose to solve the hitch, which wife is whose, whose wife is which, our 3 young brides must please agree to act as one, and not as 3.
Your 3 young brides hereby agree to act as one, and not as 3. Then you must be, till that is done, 2 gentlemen rolled into one.
Then we will be, till that is done, 2 gentlemen rolled into one.
I think that is a very satisfactory arrangement.
Ingenious, isn't it, Jenny?
Jenny?
I must call you something, you know.
Well, if you call me Jenny, I shall call you Thomas.
Oh, hang it all! Tommaso!
No, Thomas.
But it's so British!
Never mind that. The question is, will you always be true to me?
My dear Jenny, can you doubt it?
Certainly. How can I trust a husband who married 1/3 of me when I was a baby and waited 20 years before marrying the remainder?
It does sound dilatory. Regard it as an instalment on account.
And now I come to think of it, you've only married 2/3 of me after all.
I've married as much as I might.
But I married the whole of you.
Pardon me. 1/3 of you is still single.
My dear Thomas, what is the use of 1/3 of me being single when I don't know which third it is?
Here is a fix unprecedented, here a king, a queen, a star. Ever since marriage was first invented, never was known a case so hard. I'm only said to have been bisected by a profound catastrophe.
Through a calamity unexpected, I am divisible into 3.
I may be said to have been bisected.
I am divisible into 3. Through a calamity, I am divisible into 3.
Oh, honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity when excellent husbands are bisected twice and divisible into 3? Oh, honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Here is a fix unprecedented, here a king, a queen, a star. Ever since marriage was first invented, never was known a case so hard. He meant a king and extremely rich, when somebody's married him, deuce knows who.
1/3 of myself, and I don't know which one's married to half of you.
Here's a king, an extremely rich one.
Somebody's married to deuce knows who. Through a calamity, he is divisible into 2.
Oh, honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of union true? When half myself, but I don't know which one's married to half of he or you. Oh, honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Honourable soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? When half of myself has married to 1/3 of me. Now let the royal lieges gather round. The prince's foster mother has been found. She will declare to silver clarion sound the rightful king. let him forthwith be crowned.
She will declare to Silverland's son, rightful king. Let him forthwith be crowned.
Speak, woman, speak.
We're all attention.
The news we seek
This moment mention.
to us they bring.
If that's the mother, is this the king, or this my brother?
Speak, woman, speak! Speak, woman, speak!
Who the royal prince was by the king entrusted to my fond care, ere I grew old and crusted, when traitors came to steal his son reputed. My own small boy I deftly substituted. The villains fell into the trap completely. I hid the prince away, still sleeping sweetly. I called him son with pardonable slyness. His name, Louis. Behold his royal highness.
Louis!
Casilda!
Is this indeed the king? A wondrous revelation. Oh, unexpected thing, unlooked for situation.
This statement we receive with sentiments conflicting, our thoughts rejoice and grieve, each other contradicting. To those whom we adore, we can be reunited. On one point rather sore, but oh, delighted. When others claimed thy dainty hand, I waited,
As prudence, so I understand, dictated, tated.
By virtue of all early vow, recorded.
Your pure and patient love is now rewarded.
When hail, O king, adore the land, and the high-born knight proclaims his hand. The past is dead, and the day of the once more the hills silver comes from very conventionally. The royalty climb of the side and very kind of very sunny. So goodbye friendship and I go on narrow without some farewell to that measure. Oh, serious spirits and be among them, we leave you with feelings of passion. Once more